remembers going to Blockbuster on Friday nights to pick out a video? Finding the tapes before you returned them. Who has an AOL or a Yahoo email account? And who out there doesn't know or care the difference between your Insta and your Finsta? Listen, don't ask me. I am solidly Gen X. I worked at the mall in high school. I had hair so big and so hairsprayed it could have withstood a gale force wind. I still have my Yahoo email address. Email me. I will email you back. I remember when the Avon ladies in my development in Littleton, Colorado were only selling Skin So Soft as a bath oil. I worked at Rolling Stone magazine when Kurt Cobain died. I worked for the company that owned Court TV when O.J. Simpson took his slow-mo white Bronco ride down the highway. But I don't tell those stories to millennials. They don't go to the mall. They don't know Nirvana. They wouldn't know O.J. Simpson if it wasn't for the Kardashians. But I have devoted my career to helping young women find their power. I was editor-in-chief of 17 for the better part of a decade. I helped launch Cosmo, thank you. I helped launch Cosmo Girl magazine. I gave Taylor Swift her very first magazine cover. I did an entire, yes, amen to Taylor Swift, but I'm sorry, I did an entire issue devoted to Justin Bieber. I taught this generation how to kiss, how to find the best jeans for their butts. Most recently, you might have seen me on Good Morning America talking about Me Too or millennial burnout. I am basically the Jane Goodall of millennial women. I have been observing this generation in their natural habitat since 1997. And the truth is that I think they are game-changing rockstar pioneers who are redefining work and success for everyone. I can also understand why you think they are lazy, entitled, or self-obsessed. But first, let me get a selfie. Listen, I worked hard to get to the top, and I did it without inflated titles or unlimited PTO, personal time off that millennials seem to love. For every single one of my career wins, the champagne glasses were emptied before we could capture them on Instagram. There was no Instagram. And I am also that 40-something whose traditional corporate job evaporated with the crashing economy, and I've had to reimagine my career. I ran other people's businesses for most of my career, and for the last 4 years, I've been building my own. Like a lot of you, I turned my side hustle into my main hustle. Let me tell you a story. Not long ago, I gave a talk to a Millennial Women's group in Providence, Rhode Island. And during the Q&A session, oh, shout out to Rhode Island. Well, listen, during the Q&A session, a woman from Rhode Island stood up in the back of the room. She was probably in her mid-40s, neatly dressed for a Saturday, and she wasn't there as someone's mom or as a mentor. She was there for information like all the other women in the room. And she raised her hand and she said, "It seems like millennials are all anyone can talk about. How can someone like me, who is not at the beginning of her career, not get lost in the conversation?" She nailed it. She felt edged out, overlooked. It's the same feeling that I got in an email from one of the reps out there who was brushing up on me before this speech. And when she saw my work on ambition, she wrote, "I have similar goals for my life and my Avon business, but I need to know, are you including some older ladies?" It's that same feeling. What about me? While everyone is obsessed about millennials and going viral and their follower count and being an influencer, you're not just an Avon lady. You're entrepreneurs, you're community builders, and you are the original influencers. And by the way, beauty isn't mascara and lipstick. It's validation, it's diversity, and it's serious business. You're doing audience development, generating marketing plans, and making investor pitches, and don't let anyone dismiss your ambition as small or lightweight. You are helping women feel seen, feel beautiful at every shape, size, color, and texture. And you're creating value for your community, your family, and most importantly for yourself. But still, it's exhausting to have to constantly fight for the spotlight, isn't it? And so I will tell you the same thing that I told that woman in Rhode Island. You have a choice to feel diminished or to be inspired. And I choose inspired because we can't stop the changes that are happening in the world. We can't stop millennials from shaping our culture. But this moment of change is your opportunity to make your life bigger. So we can roll our eyes and say that millennials are sucking up all the air in the room, or we can see this as a chance to try something new. Refill our well, be inspired by a generation that's redefining what it means to be successful for everyone, forever. Thank you. For the last 4 years, I have had a series of dinners at my place and across the country. And let's be honest, dinner is completely overstating. It was fancy frozen pizza and many bottles of rosé. I'm a terrible cook. I call them the badass babes dinners because these are the game-changing rockstar pioneering women that you want to have in your circle, your badass babes. We talked about work and ambition and love and money and men. And after dozens of dinners and hundreds of women around my table, here's what I learned from those millennial women. They don't want to make their own rules. They couldn't care less about climbing the ladder or leaning in. They're like, you lean into me. They want freedom, experience, access. I mean, you know, it's like it doesn't happen if you're not making someone jealous on Instagram. And they want more than a job. They want a career that is also a passion. Doesn't that sound familiar? Isn't that what we all want now? No one wants to feel small, or edged out, or out of the game, or overlooked. We all want to matter. We all want to make our own rules, and that's the big life. And the problem isn't that you can't have it. The problem is that you have to believe you deserve it. Okay, so what is the big life? I'll tell you what it's not. It is not having it all. I have a huge problem with this have it all approach. It feels dated, it is not real, and not necessarily something that we all want. Have you ever met someone who has it all and is supremely happy about it? No. Me either. You shouldn't have to do a thing because it's what someone else tells you the way things should be. Big job, hot husband, adoring family, tick, tick, tick. It's one size fits all, and it doesn't necessarily fit you. It's all pressure and no possibility. The big life is not just for the alphas. We had this turn of phrase when I was in the magazine business. We used to talk about leadership, which was code for the girls at the front of the class with their hands in the air, or the girl bosses with a massive list of contacts. Listen, this revolution is for you. Even if you sat all the way in the back of the class, even if you skipped class. And P.S., you are all the bosses with the massive list of contacts. The big life is not a straight line. You know, everybody wants to celebrate failure these days. Failure blogs, failure TED Talks, and everybody's like, fail fast and fail hard, whatever. I don't believe in failure. You want to build a life of meaning. You have to play at a higher level. And that means sometimes you're going to lose. But that's not failure. That's not the end of the line. Every single time you go for something big and you don't succeed, you're getting tougher and stronger and smarter for the next fight. Here are a couple of my failures. Listen, I was actually up to bat to be editor-in-chief of a magazine twice before I finally landed the top spot at 17. And each time I didn't get the job, my heart broke into a million tiny pieces. And I felt small and useless. But if it hadn't been for those two tries, I never would have been able to ace the pitch for 17. I never would have even been in the room. And I ran that brand for the better part of a decade. And when that big job ended, I was summoned to the 44th floor of this glittering office tower where the carpets were so soft and the chairs were so hard. And I was told my contract was not being renewed. And boy, did that suck. But it gave me the push. Okay, fine. It gave me the shove I needed to build my own brand. And that's what has allowed me to speak to tens of thousands of women across the country about ambition and success and what really matters. And that's what brought me here today. So I don't want to wallow in the failures. It's the journey that matters. Every step you take is bringing you closer to who you're meant to be. And that's important to remember at every single stage in your life. Because the big life is not just for millennial women. This is the big life for all. At its core, the big life is about financial freedom, being your own boss, making your own rules. And it's not just for a select few who are young or privileged or well-connected. Because the big life is building a life on your own terms. Your own terms. There is no one clearly defined path. It's not about money or fame or likes. There is no race to the top. You're not even sure the top is where you want to be. Because what you're looking for above all else is meaning. Don't we all want to build a life and a career that matters? To our families, to our communities, to the world? If you only take 1 point away from this speech, let it be this. You are worth your dreams. You deserve every single drop of the big life. You are the pioneers. You are Lewis and Clark with an ice pick in one hand and a lasso in the other, or whatever they had in their hands, and you are forging rivers and climbing mountains to discover new territory. But there is no top of the mountain. You are never done. You never stop hustling. And that hustle is what's going to sustain you for this stage of your career and the next, and the next, and the next. Okay. How do we get the big life? Number 1, say yes to everything. Listen, I am not a huge planner. I never had a 5-year plan to become editor-in-chief of a legendary magazine or write a book or build a brand. But I worked hard. I kept my eyes open for new opportunities and new territories where I could make my mark. Because if you want to move up and move ahead, you have to say yes to everything. Coffee dates, meetups, volunteer projects. And look, not everything pays off right away. People have wasted my time. Projects have become endless drains. But I also said yes when an agent called and asked if I had any book ideas. I said yes to coffee dates with women who have been crucially important in building my business and my confidence. Saying yes, showing up, taking risks is the only way that I know to unlock new opportunities. This is my favorite story. I love to tell this story. When I was a junior editor, I had the opportunity to interview the legendary Barbara Walters. Yeah, right. Listen, it was in her beautiful dressing room backstage at The View. She had a floral couch, a pitcher of ice water on the desk, a vase of peonies, an entire glam squad team around her at all times. And I asked Barbara, what do you know now that you wish you knew when you were younger? And she said, oh, good question. I thought to myself, oh my God, I asked Barbara Walter's a good question. And she paused. She looked over my shoulder and then she came back and she said, don't imagine that your life now is the way it's always going to be. You have no way of knowing how interesting your life can become. You never know what adventures are in store for you. That has become my mantra. For women of every age and every stage, you have no idea how interesting your life can become when you say yes. Be fearless, try everything, and don't plan too much. All right, number 2. We're going to talk about the thing that I do, that I, again, don't really do. Number 2, you have to embrace the mess. When you say yes to everything, your life will be a mess. You are constantly running late. The laundry doesn't get done. You're eating leftovers straight from the fridge, and you have permanent circles under your eyes from lack of sleep. I want you to say it with me. Work-life balance is a sham. It's a sham. The more you try to wrangle your life into perfect balance, the more anxiety you will feel on both fronts. You have to embrace that mess. You have to learn to say, thank you for accommodating my schedule, instead of saying, oh my God, I'm sorry I'm late. And listen, there is nothing wrong with ordering Domino's 3 times a week. If the laundry goes unfolded for a week, no big deal. And take it from me, there is no lack of sleep that an iced vanilla latte and a little extra magic can't fix. That's my magic song. A little magic song. You have to see the mess as the mojo that is making your life bigger. It is the momentum that is moving you forward. All right, number 3. This is the most important one. Build your squad. It's the most important thing that I have learned in my work. Relationships are everything. There's this old idea, which I'm sure you're familiar with, that there's room at the table for one woman. And so that woman would fight tooth or nail to hold on to her spot. And you would have to wait until that woman got up or fell over or died to get your chance. But now that there's more room at the table, women are replacing that kind of competition with collaboration. They are forming warm groups of friends and colleagues over pizza, like at my house, and they are endlessly devoted to helping each other achieve and succeed. And I've seen it around my table and in my own life. Women need other women. My squad has meant everything to me. Opening new opportunities, making new connections, helping me through some of the toughest bits of my journey. And any organization that helps build community is going to be the one that changes the future of women in this country. And that's what Avon is doing. Yes, thank you. Because when you are surrounded by women who are devoted to helping you achieve and succeed, you feel seen, you feel validated, you feel supported, and you're less likely to feel edged out or sidelined or small. You're more likely to have greater control over how your life should be led. This room is your sisterhood. And you will take the energy and the connections that you're making here home with you to your sisterhood at home. And so the next time you look around and you feel like millennials are taking up all the air in the room, you have to shift your focus. We have to see other women as allies. The stakes are too high to allow old ideas to divide us. The truth is, every generation has a problem with every other generation. In my first job cover letter in 1994, that I sent to every single magazine company in town, I wrote about how I wanted to work on stories that didn't abandon our generation to the stereotypes of Gen Xers. Some of you might remember we were the underachievers and the slackers. But the truth is, I want to do the same thing now. Forget the stereotypes. I want to craft a narrative that honors our collective experiences as women, rather than slot us into narrow boxes. The generations that divide us are not as powerful as the threads of ambition that unite us. And in this moment of history for women, when we are all on the cusp of amazing change, we cannot afford to let this division pull us apart. We need to support each other in the ways that only women can. Because this moment is not just about your success or your success. It is about all of us. We have to rise together. That's the power of sisterhood. Thank you. Thank you.